Hi there.
Hello, thank you for listening, and we are so happy to take part of this wonderful festival of new market research. I'm here with Jeff, and we are both part of the Unlimited group, which is basically a group where it has inside companies and comms agency, and it's probably the way that we are working together nicely, and insights and having an input in creative development.
So our presentation today is called Food for Thought, how planners, creatives and researchers can work together to create excellent creative food advertising. So as Cristina says, Cristina comes from the research side of the Unlimited group, while I come from the slightly more creative comm side, and this is really about how two parts of the business have worked together to come up with processes and ways in to tackle client briefs. So as always, let's start with some tension. Something that creatives don't normally like is research. It's something that usually happens in the process at the end point when ideas have been worked up and they're presented to test groups, and it usually means things are watered down and critically judged across things that creatives don't normally like. But actually, what we're trying to tackle with this way of working is changing the process so the research is done up front. So we have ways in to tackle problems and ways in to execute ideas that can inform creative and actually make them far more palatable for clients.
Yeah, and I think what just following and building on what Jeff said, a consumer neuroscience, I think, has been many times trying to show and give actually credentials, and how we can build a paradigm, or yeah, we are able to build this paradigm in which creative planners and researchers work together, and we are aiming for the same thing, which is at the end of the day to create effective and human communications. And neuroscience is when the role of research is to fueling this creativity rather than limiting creativity. And therefore, in this topic that today we are going to talk about, food, is the fundamental question that creative teams at TMW came with is, what can neuroscience tell us about science of taste perception? And it was a very nice journey, because in one of our brainy bar, just let me just tell you what brainy bar is, for the ones who are not aware of these events. Walnut and Walk have been organizing a series of events in London in which different speakers from different fields of psychology, consumer neuroscience, and behavioral economics provide views and knowledge about advertising and research industry. And in particular, one, which is like spot on to the brief that BMW challenged us, was we invited Professor Charles Spence. He's professor of experimental psychology at Oxford University, and he shared with us what he talk about food porn. And he has been pioneering this work on taste perceptions and food advertising. So we started to dig in other sources and papers that he and other colleagues have published, and we tried to turn all of this knowledge into something actionable, which is at the end of the day what we think researchers have to be doing. And this is how we came up with these golden rules of communicating taste. And I think now I'll pass over to you, and you can start by the first one.
So our first one from the research came out, which is make the food the star, showing the product about to be or in the act of being eaten, shown in bright contrasting colours, loads of tight close-ups and different angles. Make the food, and this sounds quite obvious, but it's a really key thing. Make it look amazing, really hero it, have it centre stage, and actually when you deliver it, it's probably the most important thing. Deliver it when people are that hungry. It seems so obvious, but it's really effective.
Yeah, I think it's funny because sometimes consumer neuroscience, they do a lot of common sense things, and sometimes it's like, okay, can you want to tell me something original that I don't know? But I think reinforcing some of these your instincts as well is a good thing. So as Jeff was saying, showing food has a dramatic impact on brain activity, and this we have seen with different neuroscience experiments, and even just a photograph of food, or showing it when people are hungry, obviously, or eating it, so interacting with it, is even more impactful. And is what it happens is what we call preferential activation, which is at the end of the day this survival instincts kicking in, and I want to eat what I can see there and how delicious it looks like.
So this KFC ad here is a great example. The burger is the focus of attention. It's set against a dark background. The colours pop. It's not even perfect, but even the imperfections look delicious. And even the copy basically says what your mind's supposed to think about it. It's just all about the food. It's all about it.
Yeah, and I think we should really avoid as well this very perfect imagery. And as you said, if it looks a little bit messy, it's something good that can enhance actually the authenticity that the brain loves to see.
Our second one is make it multisensory. So the first point is about how it looks, but actually there's more than how it looks. It's about potentially how it sounds. So developing as many sensory hooks as possible and bringing them all together so you bring up as many sort of brain triggers and memories and associations as possible.
And this happens because, there are many experiments that show this. The power of foods imagery is a great example of cross-modal processing. So in a way, senses are an unimodal, and food is not just experience, as you can imagine, through a sense of taste. We can actually change and change your taste perception, just modifying the music, the shape of the dish that is served, and many things, many tricks that actually advertisers can take on their own benefit.
A great example of this actually is a shame we can't show within the webinar platform, but I recommend watching the scene if you haven't seen the film before, is on Django Unchained, in the scene where Jamie Foxx is served a beer by Christopher Waltz, and he's never had a beer before, so the way that Tarantino has done it is he's focused in on all the microscopic details, the sounds, the craft, the making of that beer as it's poured. All you're seeing on the screen is about that beer, and that's what Jamie Foxx is all thinking about as well. So those tricks are really common, and this is a great example that even Hollywood have got on this kind of action as well.
And this is important because this activates the mirror neurons, so you want to really have what they are having, and then this makes the whole experience more memorable. So what we are trying to do is that if we are able to activate more senses, we are going to be able to create more neural pathways, which will reinforce the experience and how memorable they are.
Our next one is showing food in delicious slow motion. So time to get the phantom 100,000 frames per second camera out and slow it right down, show all the chocolatey and creamy textures, make it look incredible in super slow motion.
This is, I think, a good trick, and this is how Charles Spencer always talks about this protein in motion and fats in motion. The brain is really predisposed to react to these high-calorie products, and if all of these foods that are high-calorie and already you will be attracted by, if you present it in motion or implied movement, it will be so important because our brain as well are wired to be attracted by movement. And then it will definitely take the attention that you want and impact on general favorability.
Our next is about showing care and attention, and showing the effort that's gone in from the brand to create the product. So usually we consider it slightly self-indulgent from a product perspective, but actually this is a really effective way of showing that the effort that's gone in to make this thing, it's going to taste delicious. Look at the craft, look at the skill, look at the quality that's gone in.
I hear when I think again it's a common sense, right? I mean, if someone throws you a food on your plate, or someone you have seen how the effort and skill involved in its creation, you're gonna like it more. And therefore, you are in this latte art experiment. In this paper, they realized how actually people were willing to pay more. So imagine how important it is for brands that you actually show the skills and this perfection, and effort behind it.
And our final one for today is hearing the moment of bliss. Now, this is a very common trope used in yogurt advertising. Hitting the bliss point, showing the moment of taste, the moment of enjoyment, it usually requires a young lady, eyes closed, with a spoon in her mouth, really enjoying the moment of the delicious taste of the product.
That we have used the word bliss point, when actually is crucial to experiencing taste and is crucial for food optimization. But what we wanted to show today is how actually this showing the enjoyment and the pleasure and in this indulgence will obviously trigger the reward areas of the brain, which will enhance, you know, the engagement towards what you are communicating, and this bliss point will actually bring you to this promised land that advertising will always take your brands to. But
yes, there's always a but. So taking those insights, those executional tick boxes of how you present food, as a creative, that's the beginning point. You've got the rules, but how do you take that into engaging comms? So there is a challenge. Is this enough to create successful creative communications? Yes and no. I think there is the building block on that, which is taking these rules of communicated taste and mixing it with the brand personality and DNA of the product you're trying to sell. And in the middle there is a sweet spot. Communications that stand out need to find that sweet spot. You need to be able to mix those food porn rules, for a better word, with ownable brand personalities. So something we're working on here at TMW is taking these rules and applying to a very famous ice cream brand. I wish I could talk about it now, but can't do. But how would they do it? How would their take on food porn be? They wouldn't do it in a traditional sense. So how can we take those tricks, show them, in essence, have their cake and eat it, but have fun with it, do it in their own tone of voice? And I think at that point you get something that's uniquely ownable by the brand, but yet very effective and very creative at the same time.
And I think in a way that I mean, obviously the session, you know, in a brief way, we have been able to show you, you know, how neuroscience can be an opener for a more intuitive communications. And this intuitive, what we mean is like easy to think, you know, and to use the shortcuts, you know, that may you will make people engaging with your brand proposition with ideas that are easy to think and not complicating. That's why a lot of things can sound quite common sense. Then the second one is around giving an opportunity for creatives and researchers working together. And I think obviously we can start with tension, but at the end of the day, we have to be able to fueling the creativity and providing new ways of approaching things based on human knowledge. I think obviously this means to us, from the limited offer, a real point of difference in agency offering. And we know and we have the experience, you know, how science-based insights are able to seduce clients and excuse me, so and in a way to be very meaningful, because you back it up things that you can show that actually this frame in this slow motion is triggering these sort of emotions. And the fifth is this great jumping off point for creative exploration, that I think this is the role of researchers that we should be able to offering. And I think the new way of looking at the work of market researchers and consultants is how we are able to help our industry and the creativity, how it can be even flowing even more. And this is, to me, one of my main aims, you know, when I do my work, you know, thinking about how to make this knowledge actionable and how we can build platforms, you know, between the science and the business that can help actually to shape our future. So I think this is all from us.
Yes.
We are happy to take questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.